Solomon was providing nuggets of wisdom that I believe every single human being needs to grasp, because it's going to affect some part of your life. And one thing I love about the Proverbs is that they're so real and practical. We're actually taking the time to go through this first chapter of Proverbs and look at what Solomon was actually dealing with and what he was talking to us about and how it affects our lives in very specific ways. I remember all the way back to my son, my oldest son, when I put him on the bus going to kindergarten. It was kindergarten or first grade, I forget. First grade, because you went to first grade. So we wanted to get him into a better school, and back in our city they had what they called a desegregation program, where you could put your kids on the bus and go to one of the suburban schools. And so put him on the bus that year, and I would be standing at the bus stop to pick him up when he got home. So I'm not putting down any of the other kids, but just understanding what I'm talking about. I talk about society, morals, and values. I was the only father. All the other kids, their moms picked them up at the bus stop. For Chris, I was the only father out of all the kids on the bus. I was the only father that was standing at a bus stop when this child got off. Everybody else, it was their mom. And because of the way society thinks, they immediately, all the other kids immediately got intimidated and started laughing at Chris and making fun of Chris because his dad was there to pick them up. And so it hurt his feelings, and I had to tell my little 6-year-old son to not feel bad and don't feel embarrassed because your dad picked you up. I said, what it is, son, is that they are hurt because their daddies are not there to pick them up. That's what I mean about pressures and values. It's one of those ones where we could have caved in. Well, I don't want my son to feel embarrassed about his dad picking up, so I'll have his mom pick him up from now on, so he'll look like all the other kids. No! Okay, that's a whole nother issue. And I'm not putting down any children, any situations where dads are not there. Again, I was on back in the days when Carol and I were youth pastors, I was the guest on a call-in radio show in St. Louis. It was for teenagers. Woo! That's a risky thing in itself, to be on a call-in live radio show where teenagers can call in and ask questions on a radio show, live. So I was the guest, and so the young man who was hosting the show, he deferred the question to me when it came in. Little girl called in, and she had heard us talking about fathers and fatherhood and all that, so she called in crying. And she said, you guys are making me feel bad because my dad is not there. I don't have a dad at home. And so you guys are making me feel bad. And so the guy looked at me. Oh, you're going to make me take this question. This really wasn't a question. It was a statement and an accusation. And so the Lord gave me wisdom in the spot to respond. I'm talking about pressure. The pressures, the compressions that come in this world because of society and their values and what people are going through. I said, we're not meaning to make you feel bad because your dad is not there. I said, all we're talking about is the way God intended things to be, so that when you become an adult, when you get married, you will understand how it's supposed to be. And that's really what this is about. That's part of the reason why it's tough to be a preacher in America today, because we can just simply declare how God intends for things to be, and people get offended, and they call us haters, and that we're bashing. I'm not bashing or hating, but I am still supposed to declare the intentions of God. This is what He intends. And if that is not your life's experience, then you don't tear down the value of fathers are mothers. If you didn't have a good mothers, you don't tear down mothers. Ain't no women no good and ain't mothers no. If that was your experience, then God places mothers into your life to show you what you can become when it's your turn to become a mother, so that you don't become the same kind of woman that your mother was, or the same kind of man that your father was. But we live in a world that gets so offended and, accusing everybody of bashing and hating. You don't get the point. Our point is never to put anybody down. It's just simply to say it could be for you. You can have the kind of life, or you can give your children the kind of life that you never had. If you didn't have a good childhood, believe me, you can give your children a great childhood. You can give your grandchildren a great childhood. All right.